Welcome, Right Riders. Thank you so much for joining me on today's live stream. If you're catching us on the replay, thanks for tuning in. Sorry we missed you. Now, growing your author platform can seem a bit daunting, especially when most of us writers tend to be a little more introverted. Besides, do you even really need an author platform anyway? Well, in today's video, I'm going to answer those questions and a whole lot more. But first, let's see who's in the chat. If you're in the chat, make sure you give me some emojis. Let me know that you're here. I really appreciate it. Look, we already got one like. Loving to hear that. One like. Perfect. Let's see. So, first, what is an author platform? Well, you can see different definitions depending on who you talk to. But the bottom line for me, an author platform is a place to connect where an author and the reader can, in turn, connect to each other. And you can either both ways, where you can hear back from each other, or at least where the author can communicate to the reader themselves. But now that you know what an author platform is, do I even really need an author platform? And to be honest, that really depends on what your goals are as an author. If you just want to publish books and you're not really concerned with specific sales or anything like that, then absolutely, there's no reason why you need an author platform. But if you are in this to think more of longevity and you want to really communicate with your readers and learn what they're looking for and just better the gap between the author and the reader, then you absolutely want to consider having an author platform. So, like I said, we covered a little bit, the definition of what an author platform is. But, when should I start? Should I, how many books should I have out there before I start working on my platform? And the truth is, yesterday. You should start working on your author platform before you even publish your first book. Now, if you already have a book published, don't worry and think that, okay, I don't need an author platform, it's already too late. It's never too late to start your author platform. The purpose of it is to try and get yourself out there. And the more followers you have, whether it's on social media or in your newsletter or anything like that, then the better discoverability you have. Just think of your favorite celebrity. You might follow them on social media, whether it's an actor, actress, musician, politician, whatever. You follow them on social media, you're probably still watching their movies, even if you didn't follow them, but you have this extra connection with them now. Maybe you see a little bit of their personal life. You see some behind the scenes on what they're working on now. And so things that you might not have been privy to earlier, you are now because you are connected. And so again, celebrities, they don't need to be on social media. They'll still be making money, making movies, whether they have social media accounts or not. But they want to connect to their viewers, their fans. And that is just the main purpose of an author platform. Now, by no stretch am I comparing myself to an actor or an actress, but we need to start thinking of ourselves that way. Even if you don't have one fan right now, when you build your author platform, have it set up, you'll be surprised at how many fans that might not have ever even heard of you or your book, but they stumble upon your social media page or whatever, that you get new readers from that. So it's not just connecting with current readers, but it's increasing your discoverability and your chances of getting future readers and repeat readers. And for those people who think, well, I just do no content books and low content books, it has nothing to do with me, that is absolutely 100% incorrect. I actually have an author platform for a couple of my no content, low content pen names, and they actually do quite well. One of the things that I reach out either via newsletter or through its social media page, and I ask them, you've checked out these books or whatever, what else are you looking for? What better way to find out exactly what your readers want than to ask them? And not just in the back of a book, but this is a connection that you have with them where you're basically getting them by themselves, just you and them, and you're asking them, and everybody loves to talk about themselves. So when you're asking them what they're working on, you're asking them what they're interested in and what they would like to see from you, they feel like they're invested in you as an author, or as a low content book creator, and they're way more likely not only to go out and get that next book, but even tell their friends about it. Hey, I made this suggestion and he did a book about it, and here's the book. It'll blow your mind how many potential readers and future readers you can get, even with low content books, and having an author platform with that. Again, it's not necessary, it's not required to be published, but it definitely doesn't hurt. Even if you get one follower or one sign up for your newsletter, that's one more than you had before, and that one person is more than just a reader. They're now a fan because they've taken that extra step and followed you one way or another. And so do not in any way, shape, or form overlook the power of just one or two fans, followers, subscribers. That's one of the things that I had done early on in my self-publishing career. Is my newsletter only has a handful of subscribers, so I just put it on the back burner and I didn't send out any newsletters. And and then when I finally did, they had no clue who I was because it's been over a year since we last communicated. So absolutely, do not overestimate or underestimate the power of those few, because those few can make a huge difference in your future of that particular pen name or that particular type of book that you write. Also, if you're thinking of doing traditional publishing, I will tell you that having an author platform will not guarantee your chance of getting a literary agent or a publishing deal, but it certainly doesn't hurt. If you can show them that you have followers that are, interested in you as an author and your author brand, it's absolutely one more feather in your cap to show the literary agent and potential publisher that these books can sell, because I already have people interested in me and my books. So again, especially if you are looking to be traditionally published, you definitely want to consider having an author platform. If you guys want to learn more videos about traditional publishing, let me know in the comments or in the chat, and I can do other videos on that as well. Now, the next question is, where should I start? Where should my platform be? And that is probably one of the biggest questions I get when it comes to author platforms. It's like, okay, well, there's so much out there. There's so many different social medias, newsletters, like I said, all the different social media out there. There's so many different ways to connect to your potential readers. Which ones do I pick? Do I be in all of them? Which ones are the best? And that is a very valid question. And I will answer that, but first, let's check and see who's in the chat. I see some people in there. Marla's in the house. Thank you so much for being here. Glad to see you. If you have questions as I'm going, just drop them in the chat, and I will respond to them as soon as I get done with my spiel, because I want to make sure that I condense this as much as possible, so people who are watching on the replay, if they don't want to see all the Q&A afterward, then they can just get the content right here. So the short answer is, you want to be where your readers are, or your potential readers. So for example, if you are writing young adult novels, young adult fiction. Young adults are typically between the ages of 12 and 24, 25-ish, depending on who you ask. That age group is mostly on Snapchat and Instagram. So that's where you would want to be. You would want to have a presence in at least one of those areas. If you are doing nonfiction or business-oriented type of books, then, great places like LinkedIn, maybe Reddit, places like that are ones that you would consider being in. Again, you want to be where the majority of your reader base is located at and where they're used to being. Most, especially, young adults, most people aren't going to go jump over to a platform they're not familiar with and they're not comfortable with to follow an author. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that you as the author are where they are, and you have a better chance of them following you, subscribing, or whatever. Another right here, YouTube. YouTube is a great place to connect with your potential readers, especially if your readers are a little younger, and also if you're doing how-to books or anything that's like how-to, DIY, maybe cookbooks, that type of thing. YouTube and Pinterest are places that you want to consider because that's where the readers are, and that's where they're searching and looking for the specific content that your books are providing. Let's see. Now, understand that, like I said, for young adult novels, they're in Snapchat, they're on Instagram. Two things. One, no, you don't have to be on both. Find out where they're at and try to pick at least one platform that they are on for you to be on. But you also want to make sure it's something that you enjoy, because you need to be consistent. Just like with pretty much anything in life, if you want consistent results, you need to give consistent output, and that's no different when it comes to author platforms. If your readers and your followers have come to get used to you doing either videos or posting on your blog or posting on your Instagram or whatever on certain days, or at certain times on certain days, then you need to be consistent, because it won't take long for them to feel like they can't rely on you, and they just move on. The attention span that people have these days is so few and far between that we need to make sure that we better our chances of not only getting them to join our family, if you will, our family of followers or subscribers or whatever your platform is called, but you also want to make sure that they stay. So you want to get them, but you also want to keep them, and that's what makes them go from a reader to a fan, and from a fan to a super fan. A super fan is one that's going to literally buy every single book you put out there on pre-order every single time. Super fans are what you are hoping for, and those are the ones that really will not only, like I said, do the pre-orders, but they will shout your praises to all of their friends, share your book, loan it to people. Those are your super fans. And the only way you get super fans is through constant communication with them. And I don't mean constant by having to chat, send newsletters every day, or having to post something on social media every day or every hour, depending on what type of platform you're on. But what I am saying is be consistent. Perfect example is this channel right here. I always put out videos on Wednesdays. If I was to stop putting videos out on Wednesdays, it wouldn't take long without a heads up and telling you ahead of time. It wouldn't take long before I'd start losing subscribers, because people would feel, rightfully so, that they couldn't trust me. They can't. More importantly, they couldn't rely on me. If they can't rely on you to meet whatever schedule you're putting out there, then they're going to fall out real quick. So again, you need to make sure that you're consistent. So you need to be on a platform where they're at, but that you feel comfortable with. Now, there's nothing wrong with stepping outside the box and outside of your comfort zone and trying something new. But if you're just starting out, find out where your potential readers are at, and find one of those platforms and start there. And start by figuring out, before you even post your first post, send your first newsletter, whatever it is, find out what kind of schedule you can realistically stick by. Whether it's once a week, once a month, whatever it is, once a day. Just make sure that you know in your mind what you can realistically do. Because if you set that now, then once you start getting your followers, you have a much better chance of staying consistent, because you already have set in your mind what's realistic for you. Whereas if you just dive in and to begin with, I'm going to put out, if you're on YouTube, I'll put out a video a day for the next 30 days. But then after that, you're so burnt out that you don't post anything for 2 months, then they're going to drop off. So again, consistently is super, super important. So now, what if you already have an author platform? You have an author platform, but you want to grow it. And that's kind of what the title was, is, from low to pro, is you want to grow what you already have, which a lot of us are in. And there's a couple ways to do it. First, if you've already done what I said before and you found out where your readers are at and you're on that platform, try another platform. Not replacing the one you're on, but try a second platform. Or if you're already on two, try a third platform. You don't want to spread yourself out too thin, but even though, like again for the example of young adult, yes, most of them are on Snapchat and Instagram. So if you're on Snapchat and on Instagram, that's great, because that's where they are, but that's not the only place they are. They're everywhere. Just like they're everywhere. They're not just on Amazon. They're on. Some people are using iBooks and stuff like that. So they're not everywhere. The majority of them will be in those areas that we, like I said, the Instagram and the Snapchat. But if you've already done that and you already have started your author platform on that, and you don't feel like you're really gaining any traction, or you're not gaining as much traction as you'd like, then try to go to a different platform. Now if you're looking at young adult now, or you're writing young adult novels, I wouldn't suggest doing Pinterest, because that's usually for older, for adults. But yeah, try Facebook. Try Twitter. That's another good popular one for pretty much everybody, but especially the younger crowd. So find out what you're already doing, keep doing that, but then try to find another platform. If you don't have a newsletter, try to find a way that people can sign up for your newsletter. And no, you don't always have to have a freebie. And actually, I have found with my newsletters and the subscribers that have signed up for the lists that don't have a freebie, I may not get as many subscribers, but the subscribers I get are more engaging, because there was nothing in it for them. They just want to know more about whatever that particular pen name or that particular genre is, that I'm talking about. So, like for example, here on the YouTube channel, I'm not giving anything out. I mean, I'm giving out this information for free, but I'm not doing a freebie. But if you go to kwheelerbooks.com/news, you can sign up for my newsletter, where you'll learn a lot of the stuff that I'm doing off YouTube. So again, I'm not giving away anything, but the people that are signed up for that particular newsletter are a lot more engaging than some of my other lists. So don't think that you can't have a newsletter because you don't have anything to give away. Let's see. Network with similar authors. I cannot state enough how important networking is. So many times people think that, that author's, they're in the same genre, so they're my enemy. No, they're not. They're not. We're not enemies. We're all in this together, and if we help build each other up, then we'll all perform a whole lot better. We can learn from each other, and I actually did that I've done that with numerous genres, but one thing in particular was with my children's book. When I came out with my second one, I have a group of children's picture book authors that I'm friends with, and we did something called a Facebook hop. And basically, what it was is we all had something we gave away, whether it's some ebooks or maybe a signed copy of a book or whatever it was, and for a certain period of time, and I think we did it for I think it was for 24 hours, and we literally just had them. They would start on whosever page they were following, but at the end of the and there would be a big spiel about what a Facebook hop is and everything else, and then it would also have a link to the next person on the hop. And so if someone would go on my page and they'd read it and they'd see what I was giving away, and then they would, at the bottom, they would see who the next person on the hop was, and they would click on that, and that would bring them to the next person's page. And so what we were doing is we were basically sharing each other's author platform. People who were fans and liking my author page were now going over to somebody that they may not have even heard of before. But because we're in the same genre, we knew that they read the same type of book. They were interested in that same topic, which in this case was picture books. So we ended up with a total of 15 people. Now, realistically, not everybody's going to hop all 15 times. We did find that I think 10 was probably the sweet spot, because we've done it a couple times, and I think 10 was really the sweet spot. But it also depends on what the giveaways are. And so what we would do is, if you go to my page and you like and share this, you get 2 entries. Or if you just comment on this particular post, whatever it was, you get to decide what you're giving away. You get to decide what the entry requirements are. But the most important thing is that you're sharing your author platform with somebody else. And so, like in my case, when we had 15 of them, 14 other authors are sharing their author platform with me. So it's and it's not like anybody was gonna unfollow my page to follow somebody else. No, it's not like that. Like I said, we're all in this together. So that's a great way, and there's a lot of different genres that you can do that with. So reach out to other authors in your niche, in your genre. And yes, again, you can do that with no content, low content books too. If someone is following your particular pen names page, and you do a hop to the next one, and it doesn't have to be with Facebook. I mean, you could do it on, so many different social medias. I know there's newsletter swaps, and when I say swaps, I hate that word, because I don't want you to think that I'm talking about review swaps. That is completely different, and that is something that I strongly advise against, because, well, it goes against what Amazon says we should do in their terms of service. But absolutely sharing and helping each other by basically locking arms, as Dale Roberts would say, locking arms and going from page to page and helping each other grow your author platform is just one more way that we as authors, and especially self-published authors, can really band together. Let's see what else we got. Well, I said to try you could try you can also try newsletter swaps. I know there are some sites that do that. And so, yeah, I mean, those are ways that if you already have an author platform and you want to take it to the next level, or you feel like you've gotten to a plateau, if you will, and you want to know, what can I do to grow my author platform? Well, if you keep doing the same thing, then chances are nothing's going to change. So once you get to a certain level, you need to do something to level it up in order to start seeing growth again. And so again, if you've never started an author platform, it's never too late to start. Again, start simple. Start with where your readers are at, and just pick one site that your readers are at, and that you are at least somewhat familiar with and feel somewhat comfortable with, and be consistent. Once you have started one, when you get to that plateau, or maybe you just aren't growing as fast as you want, then again, try another platform. Try, talk networking with other authors. Maybe get a Facebook hopper or something like that together. Try newsletter swaps. Again, just working together, thinking outside the box a little bit, and being consistent and helping your business grow by not being stagnant. So those are what I had. Next week, we are going to talk about author visits. I'm actually having author visits scheduled, so I want to give you guys some tips on what I've found with author visits. And yes, you can do author visits even if you have no content, low content books. You'd be surprised at how well they sell. Let me check and see who's in the chat, see how everything's going. Let's see, let me do a quick refresh. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat real quick. I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. Also, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, hey, give it a thumbs down. Let me know what I'm doing wrong. Let's see. I don't see any questions. So until next time, I'm Keith Wheeler, and remember to write right.